The delay in keeping up with weekly disbursements of Kenya shillings 2 billion was occasioned by challenges in resource mobilization, both domestically and externally. Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the heckling from a senior member like the Honorable John Buddy. And he has the liberty to wait for me to read the statement, and he can request, as he knows, to contribute other than heckling, and I'm just reading what is on the statement.
Go ahead.
John Buddy has been here for long enough to know.
Order.
To be a good example to the new members.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying the delay in keeping up with weekly disbursement of Kenya shillings 2 billion was occasioned by challenges in resource mobilization, both domestically and externally. However, the situation has improved with the disbursement of funds from World Bank Development Policy Operations Facility, which was disbursed this week. 2, on the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, GAF, the National Government Affirmative Fund, GAF, was allocated a budget of 2.13 billion in the financial year 2022-2023. The National Treasury has so far released 50% of this allocation, an amount of 1.065 billion, and is in the process of disbursing the balance of 1.065 billion, constituting the balance of the 50% before the end of this financial year. And as I said, beginning with disbursements tomorrow and Tuesday of next week. Honorable Speaker, it is also worth noting that the National Treasury, in keeping with the commitment made before IBEC and to the nation earlier this week, late last week, and the commitment this week to disburse to our county governments, that from today, Honorable Speaker, the National Treasury has released funds and is releasing funds going to our county governments. In conclusion, the National Treasury remains committed to funding NGCDF, GAF, and our county governments, and other items of interest, both to the members of the public and the honorable members of the National Assembly and the Senate, appreciating the support and collaboration between Parliament and the Executive. Yours sincerely, Njuguna Ndungu, Professor CBS, Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, let me also add, besides that written statement, I've had an engagement this morning, and indeed up to this lunchtime, with CS, National Treasury, Professor Ndungu, who is in Naivasha with the Finance Committee, and he did commit that this statement was coming and asked that we do engage with the Director General, the Director General Accounting Services, Mr. Ndungu, who we have engaged over this lunch hour, and he has confirmed that indeed by tomorrow, as they have committed, he is making arrangements to disburse the 5 billion shillings, and by Tuesday next week, they will have disbursed, another 5 billion shillings. And they commit, Honorable Speaker, saying the challenges have been occasioned by the challenges that we are all aware since we all live in this country. There have been challenges with the exchequer. There has been challenges with receivables in government, Honorable Speaker, and therefore he has committed with the support that they have now received from the World Bank on that facility that they have, and the tax collections they have made, they continue to mobilize. They will be able to disburse all of CDF, and no amount of CDF for this financial year will be carried forward to the next financial year. And I think, Honorable Speaker, that is very important, so that we do not have arrears. As you are aware, Honorable Speaker, the Budget and Appropriations Committee also did allocate some money towards clearance of arrears. They have also indicated that they will clear those arrears, and they do not intend to carry forward arrears from this year into the next financial year. And he has committed that they will endeavor and ask for your thanked members of parliament. He did ask me to ask members of parliament to indulge them, and thank you for your patience over that time, because many of our constituents have been suffering without CDF, Honorable Speaker. I myself, I was in my constituency over the recess period, and I visited at least 3 schools, which as a result of the heavy rains, pit latrines collapsed. And the children in those schools now are using semi-permanent pit latrines because we didn't have even emergency funds. We had cleared all our emergency money, and therefore I, like every other member of this House, I am looking forward to the disbursement of this money, and hopefully by the end of next week, I can promise the children of Karai Day Secondary School, those of Gadiro Primary School, and one other school which I can't remember offhand, Honorable Speaker, who have requested for emergency funding for toilets and other needs, including bursary, Honorable Speaker, they should be able to assuage. But Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, let me also plead. And I don't do this on behalf of the National Treasury, I do this as a leader in this country. That is, it is so easy to say things that will excite the masses out there. But we all live in this country, and we lived in this country before this year. And we know the situation of our economy. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, even as we engage on matters that we will be engaging on this afternoon on budget, on the appropriations report, or the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, let it be at the back of our minds that whatever expenditures we are discussing, and including NGCDF, because it is in that report. And the Honorable John Mbadi, we remember back in 2018, we got to a point where we even had to take a haircut on NGCDF. It is good that at least in the last 2 years, amidst all the difficulties, we have not had to take a haircut either on NGCDF or on any other government projects, including the 900 billion shillings of roads committed to over the last 5 years. And this government, Honorable Speaker, has indicated that they intend to finance all those roads across the country without discriminating that this project is in Kikuyu or is in John Mbadi's former constituency or in the constituency of the leader of minority, so that we are able to mobilize resources. And Honorable Speaker, I have seen very good analysts on our TV stations. Some saying, oh, the first thing you should do is completely cut on expenditure. Stop all the development projects. But Honorable Speaker, those who have been to a class of economics, like the Honorable Babu Owino, will tell you, if you are to do that, you will be shooting yourselves right in the middle of your toe, the big toe, and you will not be able to work as a country and as an economy. Because it is these development projects that spur economic growth in our countries. When roads are being constructed in your constituencies, they create employment, and people therefore are able even to raise more taxes because they have disposable income. If we were to go that route, Honorable Speaker, as I've seen some analysts on TV encourage us to do, and I say this, Honorable Speaker, because this afternoon we have before us, I know when we were here up to 9 p.m., many of us were not here. We have the second reading on the Budget and Appropriations report. As we contribute, it is good that we have that at the back of our minds. That even as analysts who seem very knowledgeable on TV, but I must say some are ignorantly knowledgeable. Because you just need to have attended a basic economics class to know that if you are to cut down on government expenditure, government is the single largest spender of resources. And without disbursement of resources from government, be it at the national level or at the county level, this economy will come to a standstill, Honorable Speaker. And we must therefore, even as we consider this budget appropriations report, have at the back of our minds that also what we will finance is what will be before us when the Finance Committee finally tables their report, Honorable Speaker. And without much more, Honorable Speaker, on that matter, if you allow me to move on to the second statement, my usual Thursday statement on the House Business Committee. Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Millie. What is the point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Majority Leader for presenting that. And I just wish, before I raise my point of order, to applaud him to laud him for acknowledging that the last two years, I hope he's seeing that I'm underlining the last 2 years, CDF was not reduced. And I'm glad that he's also acknowledging the challenges of running a government. He's always been complaining, now he's on the receiving end. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted the Majority Leader to clarify that he's actually indicated that the World Bank has given some money, and he has further said that today, money is being disbursed to the counties, and every day we sit here, money is disbursed to the counties, but we shoot ourselves on the foot because we are the ones who prepare the budget and there's no money taken to NGCDF. Why are we not prioritizing NGCDF and GAF? Why are we not prioritizing ourselves? Why are we treating ourselves as children of a lesser God? So, yes, second-class citizens, and we are the ones who are in charge of the budget. So, Mr. Speaker, if the Majority Leader could please explain why that money from the World Bank is not prioritized to us, and secondly, why we are putting counties ahead of the national government money, CDF. And our counties, people are suffering. I'm glad you have said that your toilets are down. Even ours, the toilets are down and the classes are down with roofs and the rains. And roads are completely messed up. So why are we not prioritizing NGCDF? You know, I'm annoyed until now I'm getting a Kikuyu accent. So can you please explain to us why you are not prioritizing? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Go on with your next statement.
Honorable Speaker, Millie says she's getting a Kikuyu accent with prioritizing. But NGCDF, in fact, I've just seen Mr. Ndungu is watching, and he's just sent me a text saying NGCDF and GAF, today we are funding the 5 billion and next week. So he's actually disbursing today, but it will hit the accounts of the board tomorrow. So maybe I've not gotten that right. But as Millie has asked, Honorable Speaker, it is indeed true. Prioritization is with NGCDF and money to the counties. As I've indicated, counties are being funded, and NGCDF is second. Therefore, that, Honorable Speaker, I think is clear that there is that prioritization. And lastly, Honorable Millie, I am yet to run any government. Hopefully, after William Ruto finishes his term, probably myself and the Honorable Speaker will have the opportunity to run a government. I am now oversighting one. Honorable Speaker, allow me now to move to the usual statement on behalf of the House Business Committee.
Order. That statement on CDF is self-explanatory. The only person who raised the issue was Robert Mbui. After he finishes his second statement, I'll give you 2 minutes to make a comment and close it there.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to welcome all members again, once again, back to the after the long recess.
On the same matter, Masara?
Mr. Speaker, for the first time I've heard the Majority Leader calling the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto. Do you want in any way trying to tell us that you have removed other titles now that you are discussing CDF, Mr. Ichungwa? It is quite out of order for you, the leader of majority, not to use all the titles somebody has earned. So it seems things are not right with the majority leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. That is a most frivolous point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. But, Honorable Speaker, you must appreciate the Honorable Masara. At least now he's not protesting and saying he does not recognize President William Ruto, His Excellency President William Samoei Arap Ruto, as the president. At least now he appreciates that the president is Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Honorable Speaker, I wish to welcome back members after the long recess and trust that you are all well refreshed for this part of the second session. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, the Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, CBS, appeared before the National Assembly plenary to answer questions on education matters yesterday, Wednesday, 7th June 2023. I would like to thank members for their continued active participation in this process. With regard to the business for next week, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee has scheduled debate on special motions on consideration for a nominee for appointment as the Director General of the National Intelligence Service and 2 nominees for appointment as members of the Judicial Service Commission for next Tuesday. The House is also expected to continue with the debate on the second reading of the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2022 and the following motions should they not be concluded today. 1, the general debate on the report on the consideration of the budget estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2023-2024 and the medium term. 2, report on the ratification of the amended Nairobi Convention and the protocol for the protection of marine and coastal environment of the Western Indian Ocean from land-based sources and activities. 3 is a report on ratification of the Kigali Amendment on the Montreal Protocol on the substances that deplete the ozone layer. 4 is a report on ratification of the Bamako Convention on the ban of the importation into Africa and the control of transboundary movement and management of hazardous waste within Africa. And 5, report of the Kenyan delegation to the Parliamentary Dialogue on United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, and Global Parliamentarians Against Corruption, GOPAC Annual General Meeting. Honorable Speaker, at the conclusion of the general debate on the budget estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2023-2024 and the medium term, the House will also consider the annual estimates in the Committee of Supply during the week. On Thursday, 15th June 2023, the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, Professor Kigina CBS, will make a public pronouncement of the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the financial year 2023-2024 and the medium term as communicated by the Honorable Speaker on Tuesday, 6th June 2023. The House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 13th June 2023 to schedule business for the rest of the week. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 14th June 2023 to respond to the following questions. 1, question number 088 of 2023 by the member for Konoin constituency, the Honorable Brighton Yegon, MP, regarding the welfare of Kenyans working in Saudi Arabia and efforts geared towards regulated licensing of recruiting agencies. 2, question number 089 of 2023 by the member for Yatta constituency, the Honorable Robert Basil, MP, regarding incorporation of senior citizens into the older person's cash transfer scheme. 3, question number 090 of 2023 by the member for Konoin constituency, the Honorable Brighton Yegon, MP, regarding formulation policy framework to support children whose parents or guardians are incarcerated. 4, question number 091 of 2023 by the member for Machakos County, the Honorable Joyce Kamene, MP, regarding the plight of orphans, widows, and widowers in the country. 5, question number 092 of 2023 by the member for Kirinyaga County, the Honorable Njeri Maina, MP, regarding the effectiveness of Inua Jamii program since its inception. And finally, question number 160 of 2023 by the member for Kiambu constituency, the Honorable Mashua Waithaka, MP, regarding eligibility of cancer survivors being registered as persons with disabilities. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5, and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing, and Urban Development is scheduled to appear before the House on the same afternoon of Wednesday, 14 June 2023, to respond to the following questions. 1, question number 084-2023 by the member for Mwingi Central, the Honorable Gideon Muliungi, MP, regarding resurveying and correction of titles for parcels of land in Mui Coal Basin, adjudication, survey, and title deed issuance for parcels in Mwingi East Sub-County, bordering Tana River County. 2, question number 085 of 2023 by the member for Mwingi Central constituency, the Honorable Gideon Muliungi, again, regarding the high-mast security lighting projects undertaken in Mwingi Town. 3, question number 086 of 2023 by the member for Saboti constituency, the Honorable Caleb Amisi, MP, regarding the governance and administrative structures of Kwale International Sugar Company, ownership status of property, land reference number 5004/30/R, and also number 27742. 4, question number 087 of 2023 by the member for Laisamis constituency, the Honorable Joseph Lekuton, MP, regarding Laisamis constituency and county boundaries. 5, question number 109 of 2023 by the member for Nakuru East constituency, the Honorable David Gikaria, MP, regarding the Kazim Taani project phase 3 in 2022 in Nakuru Town East constituency. Question number 117 of 2023 by the member for Embakasi West constituency, the Honorable Mark Mwenje, MP, regarding status of ownership of land reference number 12304, original number 1344/1, and 12504 and 12147, original numbers 11344/4, EMCO. Honorable Speaker, I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you. And apologies, it was a long one today.
Thank you, honorable members. I wish to acknowledge in the public gallery Miharati Boys High School, Kipipiri, Nyandarua, Moi High School, Kabarak, Rongai, Nakuru, Arokuyet Girls High School, Bureti, Kericho. On my behalf and on your behalf, I wish to welcome the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Wanjiku Muya has asked me for 1 minute to welcome a school from her constituency. 1 minute exactly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I take this opportunity to welcome Miharati Boys, one of our great schools from our sub-county headquarters in Kipipiri, and they could not have visited this National Assembly a better time than during budget, and now they have heard from the majority leader. They have good news to take home. Inform the parents that NGCDF will be disbursed tomorrow, and your long-awaited computer lab will kickstart construction, and on its completion, we shall ask the majority leader to come and open it so that you can relate your trip in the National Assembly and this budget of this year. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Robert Mbui, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to just clarify that even as I raised this question in the last assembly, this issue of CDF is not an issue of members of parliament, because sometimes the public gets confused. Members of parliament are interested in ensuring that this money goes to the constituencies for development of the constituencies. And I want to thank the majority leader for highlighting even some of the challenges that he's having. Mr. Speaker, my concern is on the dignity of the House. Remember that the CS Treasury has already given 2 letters confirming that money will be disbursed, 2 billion every week, and the first time he failed, the second time he has failed. Simple English tells me that once bitten, twice shy. I don't know when twice bitten what you say. Because, Mr. Speaker, 2 times we have actually not gotten the results of what we wanted. And, Mr. Speaker, as we discuss the budget, it is clear that one of the things we have to do is appropriate the funds. The other one is to ensure that there is prudent expenditure of the same funds. Now, we are just a month to the end of the financial year. And we are talking about, Mr. Speaker, from what the majority leader has told us, 38% of this money has been released in the last 11 months. And now he wants us to believe, Mr. Speaker, that we will be able to get 62% within 1 month. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose as follows, Mr. Speaker, because we are the ones dealing with the budget. And, Mr. Speaker, if for 11 months we have not been able to get the funds for this financial year for National Government Constituency Development Fund, GAF, and also the counties, maybe we suspend the debate on the budget until this money hits our accounts, then we can come back. You can call us on Saturday, you can call us on Sunday, any day we can come and continue. But let us give them an opportunity to put the money in their accounts, because what they are telling us they'll do in a month, they can do in a day if they are willing to do that. Mr. Speaker, I propose no CDF, no budget. No money for counties, no budget. More GAF, no budget, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Robert Mbui, you brought a very noble request. I would have easily said, go and talk to the Treasury. I directed the majority leader to bring you a response, which he has brought, and they said they are disbursing the money. The debate on the budget is ongoing, and the question will not even be put today. We have up to next week. So I want to encourage you that extremist position is unhelpful and that we do not encourage it. When we reach the order, we carry on with the debate. Robustly debate as you always do. A budget statement will be presented to this House on Thursday. It falls within the period within which the majority leader said money will be disbursed. What I thought you'd be negotiating is that when the money is disbursed, I don't know what the regulations say, that when the end of the financial year truncates every expenditure, you ring-fence that money to carry on with the programs. If it is safe, then you need not worry. Then I encourage you to engage with the majority leader, and if you have any issues, you can refer to me, because I have constantly gone beyond my duty of call as your speaker to engage the Treasury, to disburse even funds for your mileage claims, for those who get mileage, for your subsistence, and for other things that encourage us to run the House. So I want you to also be fair and patient, and I thank you for raising the issue, because it has elicited a response that looks positive. It may be inadequate, but it's positive. Honorable Ichungwa, Order Wanjala, Honorable Ichungwa, the women rep for Kilifi, has come here to request the chair to ask you whether the disbursement coming today includes money for women MPs. And I thought I heard you say so. So, Honorable Mbeyu, your question is answered. I will subsistence. I'm not encouraging any debate on this. Honorable Mbeyu, take your seat, please. He has said he spoke for CDF and women money as well, so you don't need to speak to it. Take your seat. Take your seat. Order. Honorable Mbeyu, when the speaker tells you to take your seat, you gracefully take your seat. And when you came to the chair to make a request, you and I agreed that I'll put it to him, which I have done, and he has given an answer. Now you are reneging on what we just agreed, and that is not being honorable. So I want to... Next order. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, general debate on the proposal to Parliament to consider amending the Constitution and the standing orders. Question to be put.
Order, honorable member, take your seat. I'm putting the question on this matter. Honorable members, I now put the question on the general debate on the proposal to Parliament to consider amending the Constitution and the standing orders. That noting the contents of a memorandum submitted to Parliament by His Excellency the President, asking Parliament to consider initiating amendments to the Constitution, acknowledging that actualization of the proposals which relate to inter alia the composition of Parliament as provided for in Article 97 and 98 of the Constitution, in order to attain the 2/3 gender principle, the creation of the office of Leader of Official Opposition in Parliament, and the inclusion of various funds in the Constitution will necessitate amendment to the Constitution, while the restructuring of parliamentary oversight to allow for cabinet secretaries to appear before the House of Parliament to respond to questions by members would require the amendments of standing orders, further acknowledging that the Speaker via a notification issued on 9 December 2022
inform the parents that
NGCDF
will be
Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs with regard to proposals relating to the implementation of the 2/3 gender principle and the establishment of the office of the Leader of Official Opposition.
Coming today includes money for
the Joint Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee,
and I thought I heard you say so.
With regard to the proposals to amend the Constitution to entrench the constituency development, Senate oversight and national government affirmative action funds,
on this.
and the Procedure and House Rules Committee with regard to the proposals to amend the standing orders to strengthen parliamentary oversight of the executive so as to facilitate public participation pursuant to Article 118 of the Constitution. Now, therefore,
when the Speaker
pursuant to the provisions of Article 1, 2, and 95, 2 of the Constitution,
and when you came
this
to
House
the chair,
notes, considers, and makes general comments on the proposals contained in the memorandum
I'll put it to
by
him,
His Excellency the President.
which I have done.
Will as members of that
And he
opinion
has
say
given an
aye?
answer. Now you are
And those of the
reneging
contrary opinion say nay.
on what we just agreed. And
The
that
ayes
is
have
not
it.
being honorable. So I want to... Next order. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, general consideration of the budget estimates for the financial year 2023-2024 and the standing orders. General debate, day 2, resumption of debate.
Order, honorable member, take your seat. I'm putting the question.
The member for Wajir North was on the floor, and you have a balance of
I now
4
put
minutes.
the question on the general debate on the proposal.
Thank you, Mr.
Parliament.
Speaker. If I may proceed from where I was interrupted yesterday in supporting the budget appropriation
Noting the
report,
contents of a memorandum submitted to
I want to
Parliament
say
by His
that
Excellency
the
President,
budget estimate
asking
entrenches
Parliament to consider
equitable and
initiating
sustainable
amendments to the Constitution,
equitable,
that
equitable tax and
actualization of the proposals
equity
which
and
relate to
sustainability in
Italia,
both tax and expenditure.
the composition of Parliament
Mr.
as
Speaker,
provided
this
for
was
in
first
Article
seen
97
and actually
98
last
of
seen
the
during Kibaki's
in order to attain the
term
gender principle,
in the
creation
Vision
of the office
2030
of Leader of
and the
Official
Economic
Opposition in
Stimulus
Parliament,
Program.
and the inclusion of
And
various
most of these are
funds in the
fundamental
Constitution
principles in our
will
Constitution.
necessitate amendment to the
Mr.
Constitution,
Speaker, it is critical.
while the restructuring
The situation of
parliamentary
physical
oversight
management
to
in our
allow
nation
for cabinet secretaries
that has been built over time
to respond to questions
since
by members
independence.
would require
The
the
failure
amendment
to
of standing
rationalize the
orders,
2 tiers of
further
government,
acknowledging that
both national and
the
county
Speaker, via the
government.
notification issued on 9 December
Mr. Speaker, I can't listen.
Inform
I
the
can't hear.
parents that NGCDF
There's too much noise.
Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs with regard to proposals related
Order,
to the
honorable
implementation
members,
of the
order.
gender principle
request the
Order,
chair
honorable
establishment
members.
of the office
Order,
of the leader of
majority
official
whip.
opposition coming today
Will you take your seats?
includes money
The
for women
Joint
and
Parliamentary Ad
peace.
Hoc Committee,
And I thought I heard you say so.
with regard to the proposals to amend the
So, Honorable
Constitution to entrench the
Mbayo, your
constituency
question is
development,
answered. I
Senate
will,
oversight, and national
subsistence.
government
I'm not
affirmative
encouraging
action
any
funds,
debate on this.
and the procedure and House Rules Committee with regard to
Order.
the proposals to amend the standing orders,
Order, honorable
strengthen
members.
parliamentary
We are debating
oversight
on
and
important
executive
issue. Take your
budget
seats.
so as to facilitate
Take
public
your seats.
participation
And it's good to
pursuant to
hear your
Article
colleagues.
118
Order. Honorable
just like
Mbayo.
they'll hear you when you give Now, yours. therefore,
When the
so
speaker
pursuant to the
members who are
provisions of Article
requested to
1,
take your
2,
seat
and
can't stop
95,
you.
2 of the Constitution,
And
can
when
walk
you
out.
came
This
for the
House
chair,
notes, considers,
or
and
the
makes
room
general
behind the
comments
speaker's chair,
on the
you and
proposals
I agree
contained in the
engaging
memorandum
but I'll put it to
by
him.
His Excellency
And allow
the
those who are
President,
interested in
and
debate.
as manners of that
And he has
occasion,
given
aye,
us-
and hear debate.
Now you are
Those of the
reneging
Honorable Opinion say nay.
on what we just agreed. And
The
that
ayes
is
have
not
it.
being honorable.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Speaker. I was
to-
saying we are in a very critical situation in the physical management of our nation.
Order number
that was built
9.8 motion, general declaration of the budget estimate for the financial year 2023-2024 and standing order. General debate day 2, resumption of debate.
And the failure
Order,
to
honorable member,
rationalize
take
the
your
two
seat.
tiers
I'm,
of government,
putting the question.
both
The
the
member
county
for
and the
Wajir
national
North
government
was on
in
the
terms
floor.
of size and operations since
And you have,
2010.
honorable member,
This
balance
was further
of
exacerbated
4 minutes.
by the handshake which has thank you, led Mr. to stalled
Speaker. If I
projects.
may proceed from where I was interrupted
and
yesterday in
indiscriminate
supporting
borrowing, Mr.
the
Speaker.
budget appropriation.
Noting
These
the contents
are
of a memorandum
serious
submitted
times.
to
I want to
Parliament by
say
His
that
Excellency
the
President,
budget
which
estimate
can make and
entrenches
break
this
this
nation.
Parliament to consider
Equitable and
issues
we are in a
sustainable
very
to the
hard
Constitution.
situation, and this
Acknowledging
demands for
that
collective support, equitable
actualizing
tax, all to find a sustainable
actualization of
situation.
the
Equity
proposals which
and
relate to
sustainability in
Mr.
both
Speaker,
tax and expenditure. The elephant in the
composition of
room is,
Parliament
Mr.
as
Speaker,
provided
the diminished
for
first
Article
seen
97
public trust in
and
our actually last
institutions.
seen during Kibaki's
In order to attain the
term in regard to grievances largely emanating from inequality and the economic stimulus program.
And
In this
and
place,
various
also, these
funds
are
of the
fundamental
Constitution
principles marginalization
in our
constitution,
necessitate
discrimination in
amendment
terms
to
of
the
Mr. Speaker, it is critical.
While
Public
the
resources, the
restructuring
situation
of
of
corruption
physical management in our
allow
nation, public
public
resource
resources
wastage.
allow
That has
the
been
Speaker
built
of
over
Parliament to
time
respond
on the
to
equity
requests
since
by
independence,
members
sustainability,
require
the failure to
non-financial
rationalize the two tiers of
believe
government,
that
the regulations
both
and national and
administration
county government
notification
within the budget
issued on
estimate.
9
Mr. Speaker, I can't listen. Guarantee that there is
I
a
can't hear.
balance in terms of much noise between the haves and the have-nots. At least in the major
Order, honorable members.
are brought about to make sure that they pay substantially. There is zero rating of food production, fertilizers,
Will you take
and
your seat?
all other technologies,
Joined
and
Parliamentary Ad Hoc
a really
Committee
stringent tax
with
administration
regard to the
to
proposals
counter
to
avoidance
amend
and
the
evasions of tax payment, Mr. Speaker. Further,
Senate oversight
Mr.
and
Speaker,
national government
the
affirmative
sustainability of tax
and the procedure and House rules
principle
Order
is more visible in the revenue, in the expenditure perspective, I mean, Mr. Speaker. Our government has allocated, has been allocating development and investment along the railway line during the colonial time, which was further inherited by the government from 1963. There was a skewed distribution of development, and since then we have had disparities in terms of allocations. Equity has not been. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was saying we are in a very critical situation in the physical management of our nation.
Order number 9.8 motion, general declaration of the budget estimate for the financial year 2023-2024 and standing order. General debate day 2, resumption of debate.
And the failure to rationalize the two tiers of government.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to support this report on the 23rd, 24th financial year budget estimate as tabled by the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Mr. Speaker, the Budget and Appropriation Committee report proposes to increase the allocation to health sector from shillings 140 billion to shillings 141 billion for the financial year 23-24. This approach, Mr. Speaker, will build a progressive, responsive, and sustainable healthcare system for accelerated attainment of the highest standards of health for Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, this will guarantee a healthy, productive, and globally competitive nation for sustainable economic growth and development. Mr. Speaker, in order to realize this, the committee remains committed to the actualization of UHC, that is Universal Health Coverage, through implementation of the National Social Health Insurance Scheme. Mr. Speaker, wants to move NHIF from being an insurance scheme to a social scheme, so that we can be able to cover all Kenyans under the UHC program. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Health is focused on ensuring Kenyans access quality health services through consistent supply of health commodities. We have had issues that Mr. Speaker, and we are working on that. We really work on that to make sure commodities are reach Kenyans. To enhance capacity for human resource health, provide integrated health information system, and the social insurance targeted vulnerable. In an effort to change bias from punitive to preventive and promotive health, the government is focused on strengthening primary health care through resourcing the primary health facilities, establishment of primary care networks, and strengthening community health services. This, Mr. Speaker, means we want to move this country more from concentrating on punitive, preventive and promotive, so that we can be able to save on the money that is spent on fueling diseases that we can prevent. It's again this workshop that the committee approved allocated recruitment of 4,400 community health volunteers. We will steer the digitalization of primary health care in the country. Mr. Speaker, in establishing the community health network, we need community health workers who can be community, so that we can be able to detect the community and realizing suspicion. Mr. Speaker, the proposed budget for financial year 2024 is preparing this for a better approach that is part of the economic transformation model for the Kenya Kwanza government. The federal administration priority program policies reforms implemented at the finance wasteful is geared towards economic turnaround and development to increase investment. Mr. Speaker, it's again in this backdrop that the Committee on Health approved shilling 20 billion for the bottom-up economic transformation model that directly links this model with increasing accessibility to universal coverage, manufacturing of that Mr. Speaker, we realize that as a country 50 years after independence, all costs bio output to increase the allocation in Kenya sector from shilling for 40 billion to as a committee 1 million in the financial year our this up to Mr. Speaker, Kenyans are progressing their own vaccines and so-called Speaker, the lead is digitalize the health this country. Mr. Speaker, Speaker, in order to realize this, I recommend this report committee that
non-essential domestic and international travel. Free ministerial auto-station allowances, ministerial house allowances, domestic allowances for cabinet and principal secretaries. 9. Stop corruption and settle public funds. 10. Finally, we ask you to have himself withdraw this bill of apology and seek forgiveness from Kenyans with anxiety caused. Then begin afresh. They've agreed that MPs vote against any tax rise. Should Ruto overrun the National Assembly, will regroup and overrun him in the wider National Assembly, the whole of Kenya.
We are doubling money in
This project will add an extra 5 megawatts complement the existing
sensitive to the we are not being sensitive to the times that we are in. The second problem I have with this budget, as I look at it, Mr. Speaker,
to renew our
the money in the infrastructure. The Constitution provides expenditure means that we are on track to programs of the in all parts of the country. When I look at the money in Mr. Speaker,
factor that was significantly
on this
bringing
budget
down the cost of power
is in the energy sector. Mr. Speaker, I come from a constituency where 37 educational institutions are not provided with electricity, despite the fact that this House passed a motion
had to be done,
indicating that
an examination order was issued,
all educational institutions must be provided with
file was
electricity.
constructed.
When I look at the budget line,
Same file was forwarded to the office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
another constituency whose schools
The
are
public,
not
the Director of
provided by
Public
electricity
Prosecution has recommended that this matter,
Mr. Speaker,
there is nobody
I'm
directly involved with the matter or the death of one Jeff
otherwise.
and therefore his recommendation
In the
is that the file be taken to a public
indicates
inquest.
that
We are here today.
we are
We
encouraging
have been told by the state
in the Rift Valley
that they
area
have 35
actually
witnesses.
funding
Their statements which we are getting short. We will be looking at witness
what
statements.
reason do we have
This
to
matter
spend money
being
for
a
defense
fast
at the expense of
major
the
public
Kenyan child?
inquest in this country.
Mr. Speaker,
We are appealing as a family
I come from a
that
constituency
anybody who
that
has
has been
information,
marginalized in development for many
anybody
years.
who has
There is a
information
road called
to the
C44
circumstances that led to the
which
death
connects
of young man Jeff Mwathi
5 counties.
can directly contact the family.
Kakamega,
He can directly contact his lawyers here so that we are able to produce that evidence in the inquest. If there is any fear about in the security of that person,
4 times.
that information will be handled confidentially. We will be able to activate the witness protection agencies to protect that, so that we unravel the death of this young man.
When I look at there is no single cent.
Alafu zile bado ziko na government subsidy. Ndio hiyo. It is not supposed to be repackaged or replaced.
And when I look at this budget,
that there was some illegal business going on within this particular godown, which is within Kalunga, within the areas of Wanamike Road. And our teams who are on the ground were able to come rather to check in. And in their normal operation, they were able to find that there was a packaging of the local fertilizer, which was meant to be the subsidy, or it was meant to be supplied by the government as a subsidy. But again, after we got in, we realized that they were doing a repackaging the same. Of course, this is something that we want an investigation, because we are yet to find out why they were packaging the sole fertilizer that was meant as a subsidy to the local market or the local farmers within our country. We've been able to recover the food with the that is content of rice, maize, and other local stuff or food. That again is being repackaged. We are wondering in this case, who could be doing this? That the food meant for the Kenyans elsewhere, somebody is doing the repackage here.
An update on the replacement of the
It is not only here in Mount Kenya. I am doing it. I was in Bungoma. I was in Nandi. I am in Nairobi. I am in Western. And I'm heading to Isiolo. I'm going to Northeastern. We are going to change and transform. This boy child must be rescued and saved. We cannot, and I will not allow Satan to advance his agenda and destroy the seed carrier. It will not happen, not under my watch.
Your Excellency, we will not tire to thank you for finding it important to help this young generation. Because if we don't help these young men and women, we don't have the hope for tomorrow. Na tunakushukuru sana kwa hii mzigo ambayo umejitwika. Even if this is the only job you are going to do as the first lady, as the second lady of this republic, of reviving the hope of these young men, then be it. Sababu tunaamini umeitwa na Mungu, usaidie hawa vijana wapate kesho.
So as a commission, we want to say that at the onset, from birth, we want to have recognition of their rights through the right recognition, the right registration, and that is what the bill is trying to come up with. Then the bill is also trying to enhance their rights. When you're talking about education in our schools, we know that intersex children face a lot of discrimination, a lot of stigma, a lot of violation that curtails their right to education. So the bill is looking at having an enabling environment in our schools that is able to give intersex persons the same chance, the same equal platform as others to pursue their education. The bill is also looking at other elements, for instance, health. We know that health, the right to health, and not just the right to the highest attainable health, is very critical.
Thank the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights for bringing this bill. This bill is very important for the intersex persons and will be accepted, and they will access the government services and other jobs opportunities. So for this, for the entire country will understand who are the intersex persons and what are the services that intersex persons require.
So as a commission, we want to say that at the onset, from birth, we want
Have you taken it?
Very well.
Stick it when it is flying like this.
Yeah.
Tourism is one way of growing.
And 236 of the Constitution. For the benefit of members, the orders issued by the court in the matter are as follows, and I quote, that the application is certified as urgent, that pending the hearing and determination of the application, conservatory order be and is hereby issued suspending the implementation of the decision to remove Honorable Sabina Chege from the office of the Deputy Minority Whip in the National Assembly as communicated by the first respondent on 4th May 2023. That the applicant petitioner to serve the respondents within 7 days from the date hereof. That the respondents to file and serve their respective responses within 7 days of being served by the applicant and petitioner. That the mention on 14th June 2023 for parties to confirm compliance and take further directions from court number 2. Honorable members, the Constitution has distributed sovereign power to the three arms of government in a very deliberate manner. Through a robust system of checks and balances, the Constitution has granted each arm sufficient powers to discharge its mandate and defend itself from unwarranted intrusion from either arm at the same time. For government to work in a harmonious fashion, each arm ought to refrain from inordinately wading into the internal affairs of its counterparts. With regard to the affairs of the legislature, the executive may make general legislative proposals, but Parliament is solely vested with the mandate of enacting laws. Similarly, though the court is granted powers to enforce and interpret the Constitution, it normally refrains from interfering with the internal processes of the legislature. Members, take your seats, the nearest seats. The nearest seats, please. Article 165(6) of the Constitution grants the High Court supervisory jurisdiction over any person, body, or authority exercising a judicial or quasi-judicial function. In line with the dictates of this article, the courts have all along distinguished the legislative role of Parliament from its administrative and quasi-judicial functions. Order, Honorable Mbade and Sabina Chege. Consequently, the courts have only exercised their supervisory jurisdiction to review the quasi-judicial and administrative functions of the Parliament when either vetting or considering petitions for the removal of persons from office. However, honorable members, the courts have always refrained from interfering with the lawmaking powers of Parliament. They have consistently limited themselves to reviewing the content of bills after their enactment into law. Indeed, any interference of the court in the consideration of a bill that is actively before the legislature would constitute a striking departure from established constitutional precedent and practice both in the Commonwealth and the congressional systems. This is a matter which both the court itself and my predecessors have ruled on. In South Africa, the court has held as much in the celebrated case of Doctors for Life International versus the Speaker of the National Assembly and others, CCT 12 of 206, ZACC 11. In declining to interfere in the consideration of a bill, the court held that South African constitutional scheme contemplates that challenges to the constitutional validity of a bill passed by Parliament must await the completion of the legislative process. Honorable members, with the foregoing distinction in mind, I note that the House has been taken before the courts, the courts, including by its own members, and the courts have ruled both in favor and against this House. The House will recall that in the 11th Parliament, the leader of the minority party, the current leader, the Honorable James Opio Andai, MGH MP, did successfully challenge his suspension from the service of the House for the remainder of the fourth session. In his suit, the Honorable Member for Ugunja challenged provisions of the standing orders on the fairness of the penalties relating to disorderly conduct and their effect on the constitutional right of a member to represent his or her constituents. The litigation by the leader of the minority party significantly contributed to the amendments made to the standing orders to provide for different categories of disorderly conduct, graduated penalties ranging from suspension for a day to a maximum of 90 calendar days and an appellate process. During the same 11th Parliament, members will also recall that the court injuncted the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and Lands from considering petitions submitted to the House for the removal of the then Auditor General and the then Chairperson of the National Land Commission, respectively, pursuant to the provisions of Article 251 of the Constitution. Despite the disaffection of the House and the Presidium with the orders granted in the foregoing cases, the House nevertheless observed the directions issued by the court and halted its quasi-judicial and administrative processes. Notably, in guiding the House on the order issued with regard to the petition for the removal of the Auditor General, my predecessor, the Honorable Speaker Justin Muturi, rightly noted that the only avenue available in law to express disagreement with a judicial finding is an appeal against the decision of the court. Honorable members, I have in this 13th Parliament had occasion to uphold my predecessor's guidance in relation to court orders made against the House and its committees in relation to the exercise of quasi-judicial and administrative functions. Members will recall that on 15th of November 2022, the Employment and Labor Relations Court granted conservatory orders staying the vetting of nominees for appointment as principal secretaries in Constitutional Petition E186 of 2022, Dr. Mogare Gikeni versus the President of the Republic of Kenya, and 55 others, and in Constitution Petition number E192 of 2022, the Law Society of Kenya versus the National Assembly, and 4 others. In deference to the directions of the court with respect to the applicable administrative process, I did notify the House of the suspension of the vetting process despite the discomfort that the decision caused to the business of this House. Immediately thereafter, I instructed our litigation counsel to challenge the orders in court. As your Speaker, I remain cognizant of the obligation imposed by Article 3 of the Constitution on me to respect, defend, and uphold the Constitution in guiding the proceedings of the House. On one hand, the minority party has met all the procedural requirements to effect a change of its leadership. On the other hand, I'm confronted by a court order that specifically cited both the Speaker and the House as parties to a judicial process that seems to challenge an administrative process. Despite the sympathies I may hold for the predicament that the minority party finds itself, this House has consistently demonstrated its willingness to abide by orders of the court relating to the exercise of its quasi-judicial and administrative functions. Even where certain orders have been adverse to the interests of the House, we have dutifully obeyed them and sought to set aside the orders that we were not in agreement with. Honorable members, from the foregoing, my hands are therefore tied with regard to the court order that has been brought to my attention. Until and unless further information is provided that this order has been varied or set aside, the court order effectively suspends the decision by the minority party on the replacement of the Honorable Sabina Chege as the Deputy Minority Whip. As a seasoned legislator and experienced party leader myself, my heart sinks whenever I see a dispute that may be resolved through internal dispute resolution mechanisms being referred to in an adversarial court system. In my experience, court battles may be counterproductive and may ultimately destroy long-standing political relationships. I encourage the minority party and the Jubilee Party to seek an amicable resolution of whatever it is that may be the bone of contention with the coalition and between the members of its constituent party. I am confident that an amicable resolution of the issues shall positively contribute to the continuity of the business of the House and its vibrancy. In issuing my communication of 4th May 2023, I did guide that I was hesitant to recognize the Jubilee Party as a parliamentary party despite its meeting the threshold prescribed under the standing order. At this stage, I am still hesitant to recognize the party. Order, order, order. Obviously, the two gracious ladies are not being choked by anything, and their conduct is constituting a nuisance, and any further interruptions will attract some penalties. Honorable members, in the current situation persists and provided with all relevant particulars by the Jubilee Party, I may have no choice but to recognize the party. In the meantime, what is available to Honorable Wandai, I have ruled that we have procedurally followed every step and have no difficulty with your decision to remove your deputy whip. But there is a court order to which, strangely, your party and your coalition is not a part of the proceedings. I would advise you that you seek to enjoin yourselves with the proceedings. If you wish, and pursue the matter in court, I have already instructed our litigation team to end appearance and robustly defend the Speaker, the Clerk, and the National Assembly in this matter. It is so ordered. Order. Honorable Millie and Honorable, you will leave the chamber. Honorable Millie. Order. Honorable Millie. Order. Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members, order. Take your seats. Order, take your seats. Order, honorable members, order. Order, take your seats. Order, take your seats. Order, honorable members, order. Order, take your seats. Take your seats. Order, take your seats. You can do better than that, Kajwang. Order. 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 Order, Millie. Order. 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 Orderlies, I order Honorable Rosa Buyu and Honorable Millie Odhiambo to leave the chamber. Honorable Rosa Buyu and Honorable Millie Odhiambo, you are ordered to leave the chamber. You are ordered to leave the chamber. Honorable Rosa Buyu and Honorable Millie Odhiambo, you leave the chamber. Order. Honorable Rosa Buyu and Millie Odhiambo will leave the chamber. You will leave the chamber. Yes. Sergeant? Yeah? Order. Honorable Rosa Buyu and Millie Odhiambo will leave the chamber. Sergeant, will you ensure the two members are out of the chamber? Sergeant, ensure the two members are out of the chamber. Sergeants, enforce the order of the chair, Sergeant. Honorable Kajwang, take your seat. Order, honorable members. Kajwang. Honorable Sergeant, can you enforce the order of the chair? Honorable Rosa Buyu and Honorable Mili. Order, honorable members. Order. Kajwa. Order. Order. Honorable Mbadi, you are the seniors of this house. You can do better. Honorable Kajwang. Honorable Kajwang, take your seat. Take your seat, I'll hear you. I want to see Rosa Buyu and Mili leave the chamber. Order. Order. Order, honorable members. Sergeant, can you take the two members out? Sergeant, will you take out the two suspended members? Honorable Kajwang, you'll also follow. You'll also follow. Sergeant. Sergeant, can you enforce the order of the chair? Order, honorable members, order. Order, honorable members. The House will take a short recess of 15 minutes. Lower the mess, and the House is suspended for 15 minutes. Sergeant, can you enforce the order of the chair?